Hey guys, this is Chantel, your therapist. And today we're going to be talking about anxiety, but anxiety and what we call panic attacks. So a panic attack is when we have physical symptoms in our body where all those feelings are exaggerated. Like if our heart is beating fast because we're having heart palpitations due to our anxiety, we might think that it is a heart attack. You might think you're dying, like you start sweating or your body just feeling all these strange things going through it. And you just kind of feel like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? I got to go to the doctor or I have to go to the hospital because you may feel like you're dying or you just feel like it's like the worst possible thing. So when this is happening, what we're doing is actually called a cognitive distortion, catastrophizing. We're thinking about the worst possible scenario. And the more we have fear about the thing that we think is happening to us based on our bodily sensations, the worse the sensations get. Okay, so we're feeding into that fear. We feed into that energy of negativity. Now, this is called the anxiety cycle. How the anxiety cycle goes is that you're typically triggered by something, whether it's a subconscious trigger or subconscious, meaning something that's you're not actively aware of. It's not something that's happening right now, right in front of your face. Maybe it's something that's been on your mind and you've been thinking about it, and then something happened that reminds you of that, and it triggers that thing. So when it triggers it, you get upset, and maybe you start to breathe harder. Your heart starts to beat faster. Your palms start to sweat. You start to feel nervous. If you're about to go do something, you might try to avoid that situation that you're about to go do because you feel all these sensations coming on and you don't want to be like embarrassed. So you start overthinking the situation. And when you're overthinking, you think in the worst possible scenario, all these negative thoughts, negative cognitive distortions that's coming to mind. Or you might have this impending sense of doom, like something like a bell ring, doo, and everything just feel like, oh my God, this is like the worst thing's gonna happen. You just a doom feeling comes over you. Or you might be constantly worrying, or what I call ruminating, thinking about the same thing over and over again, but not really coming up with solutions, just worrying, thinking about stuff, the same thing that's negative, that's in a cycle, you're stuck in a loop about this negative thing. As a result, you might not be able to sleep, you might have insomnia, and it just goes on and on. So it's just a negative cycle. So the anxiety cycle is you get triggered by your anxiety, okay? At the top, you get triggered by your anxiety. And then once you trigger by it, you have these cognitive components, these negative cognitive distortions, these negative thoughts. We call them automatic thoughts, intrusive thoughts that come into your mind. As a result, you have an emotional component where you have, like you worries, fear that's there. Then you might have physiological response, like your hands might start sweating, you might feel upset in the stomach, headaches, muscle tension. Then you have a behavior response, which, let's say you were about to go do something and you just decided, oh, I'm not going to go do that because I'm feeling sick now because the anxiety is making you feel sick. And then because you don't do it, you get short-term relief. So you feel better. So now my anxiety starts to calm down, but it's long-term consequences because you're reinforcing this cycle of anxiety that you got going on. So next time you get triggered, same thing happens. A cognitive component, negative thoughts, distorted thinking, intrusive thoughts come, emotional response, fear, worry, or whatever else. Physiological response, nervousness, sweating, upset stomach, headache, muscle tension. Behavior response, I'm not going to do the thing. Short-term relief from not doing the thing. Long-term consequences, repeats all over again. Okay, so that's the cycle of anxiety. Now, that's the cycle. How you recognizing that you have an anxiety is when you start to have physical symptoms in your body and there's not anything physically wrong with you, like you're not sick, or if these feelings that start physiological effects start coming up in your body, if they are all of a sudden and is a response to a situation, like if you had to give a speech and your hands start sweating, your mouth start getting dry. Those are physiological responses to stress, I guess. You might start overthinking, start worrying, feeling nervous. That's how you get these, like, it comes on quick and it's like a nervousness with some kind of physical symptom that's accompanied with the worry, the fear that you feel. It's some kind of physical symptom attached to it, okay? Now, how do you get over this? How do we get over it? So what we do, we have to challenge our thoughts. We challenge our negative thoughts. But the first thing you do, let's say you're anxious and you feel like the panic attack is coming on because these physical symptoms hitting you quick. So you went from 1, which is peaceful and calm, to 10, which is like, oh my God, I'm about to flip my switch. I'm about to die. I got to run out and get some fresh air. You just got that fight or flight. You just want to run. Okay. When that happens, what I need you to do in that moment is to calm yourself. And you can do this by first recognizing, okay, I'm having some anxiety. I have some fear about, this presentation, fear about doing this thing, fear about talking to that person, whatever your fear or your worry is related to, identify it and say it out loud. Okay, so you acknowledged it. You're not pushing the feelings away. You're acknowledging, you're accepting what is. You're having anxiety. That's called radical acceptance. And I'll have that in a different video lesson about radical acceptance. But so then you just choose to consciously slow down your breathing. So you breathe in through your nose on the count of 4. Hold it for 1 second, and then breathe out on a count of 8 slowly. And the reason why I say slowly is because you're already probably kind of hyperventilating because you're anxious. So if you breathe in through your nose, where you make sure you put your hand in your chest and one hand on the belly. When you put your hand in your chest, kind of make your chest still because you don't want to hyperventilate. And when you breathe in through your nose on 4, your stomach should poke out. So breathe in now. Hold out through the belly slowly on 8. So out through the mouth, but you're going to feel your belly deflate. Do it again, in through the nose on 4. Hold out through the mouth, belly deflating on 8. One more time. In through the nose on 4. Out through the mouth on 8. Okay, so if you did that, you should feel like a calmness in your nervous system. So if you were able to do that, if you're anxious, it'll calm you down. Sometimes you're not able to do that because you're hyperventilating too much. So I have other techniques to kind of help. But the first thing is to recognize that you have an anxiety and to slow down your breathing. Okay. The next thing you do is you say, my anxiety does not define me. This doesn't define me. It doesn't make me weak. It doesn't make me less of a person. It doesn't make me anything. It just makes me a person that's having anxiety right now. And I'm trying to calm myself down. Okay. So it's just saying, this don't define me. This is a moment in my life. It's something I'm reacting to. Then you can say, I'm going to choose peace versus worry. I'm not going to be worried about this thing that I can't control. I'm going to say, it's going to be okay. In the end, or even right now, I'm okay. So right now I'm healed and everything is okay. So I'm choosing peace over worry. You can also say this too shall pass. So even though this might be a tough time that you're going through, it is going to be over soon. At some point, it's going to be over. It's not going to continue. Only way it's going to continue if we continue this anxiety cycle where we're revving ourselves up in this worry and fear and having these physiological and emotional negative responses. Okay. So this too shall pass. I am safe. And I will be okay. It's like literally say that to yourself, like you're talking to someone else to calm them down. I'm safe and I'm going to be okay. Also, you can say, not all thoughts are facts. Not everything I'm thinking is fact. A lot of what I'm thinking is based on how I'm feeling. So it's kind of skewed. I'm having some cognitive distortions here. So this might be a time where you say, okay, what cognitive distortion am I experiencing? Am I over catastrophizing, black and white thinking, that all or nothing thinking? Is it fallacy of change? Just go through the list of distortions, and going through that list actually takes you out that emotional state, and it makes you start logicking things so you can see things more rationally, so that it'll calm the emotions down because you're changing mindsets from the emotional mind, like in a wise mind concept, to the rational mind. Okay, so you coming out your emotional state, if you can look and see what cognitive distortion am I caught up in right now. You know what I'm saying? And then like actually pull a sheet out and look at it. And then, okay, once you identify, I can cope because I'm strong. So this is what I'm gonna do. Since I know that I'm over catastrophizing, I'm just gonna sit here, take a few deep breaths, tell myself I'm gonna be okay, calm myself down so I can get into that wise mind, or I'm aware of where I am. Like I'm not pushing my feelings about the stuff away. So whatever the situation is, it definitely bothers me on some levels because I'm having anxiety and I have these panic symptoms. But let me get centered with my deep breaths. Let me calm myself down with my positive statements, affirmations, my coping statements in terms of my anxiety. And let me try to rationalize and see which cognitive distortion that I'm going through. So now that I'm doing that, I'm taking myself out that emotional state and I'm getting to the more logical state. Now I can rationalize about what I need to do now that I know what I'm doing. Okay. All right. The next part in it is to be able to challenge the negative thoughts. So we talk about those cognitive distortions, figuring out which one that you're actually identifying with. Okay. And you ask yourself, do I have evidence for or against this thought? So whatever you're thinking, oh my God, if I get up and say this presentation, I'm going to stumble over my words or not know my speech? Is there evidence in the past? Has that happened? Are you prepared for the speech? Did you practice already? You know what I'm saying? You ask yourself, is this just like a negative thought that I'm thinking about? I'm not thinking about the worst possible scenario. I'm just catastrophizing. Or did I really not prepare? And if I get up there, I'm gonna like fail. You know what I'm saying? Start rationalizing that. Am I thinking black and white terms? Like it's like all or nothing. It's all this way or that way. Or is there a middle path? Is there a different way I can view it to kind of come together? Like if I was going to do a speech. So I get up to the podium and I say, listen, I'm so nervous. My hand's sweating. I feel like I got cotton mouth, but I did practice a speech. I want you guys to know that. Like you can make a joke to lighten the audience up, and that can calm things down. So you find like being honest with yourself and then sharing your honesty with the audience. If you were giving a speech, can kind of help. It's like an icebreaker, light the room for yourself and for the people that's going to try to listen to your speech. So you find a middle ground, and the middle ground always involves being honest about where you're at and how you feel. Okay. And then you'll find that you get support from people. You know what I'm saying? If you're honest about that, because we're all human, and it's that human experience that everybody crave. It seems that a lot of people want to go towards perfectionism, which is not realistic. And those normally are people with type A personalities, and we stress ourselves out trying to be a perfectionist. But if you can just be human, like, oh, I messed up, said the wrong thing, or just correct it. A lot of times people don't even notice you make a mistake if you just correct it and not focus so much on the negative thing that you did or the mistake that you made. Another question you can ask to challenge your negative thought is, what would a friend think about the situation? Or how will my friend deal with it? You know what I'm saying? So you start like putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and thinking, so you're thinking outside of yourself. So when you're focused on the situation, you're subjective. So you're only seeing it tunnel vision from your point of view. But if I take myself out of myself and put myself in that person's shoe and I'm outside looking in at myself, how will my friends support me? Or what will my friends say to me? And then give your advice based on that perspective. Okay. Can I influence or manage this just beyond? Can I influence or manage this, or is it beyond my control? So is it something that I can change? Is it something I can do to make the situation better? Or is no matter what I do, it's not going to work? So that's what you got to look at. What's in my control? So we do a circle of control. These are the things I can control. You know what I'm saying? Whether I get up to actually do my speech, my tone of voice, my confidence level in my speech, those are things I can control. What I can't control is how the audience is going to respond to the speech or to the subject that I'm given. So you start listing stuff you can and can't control. And when you do that, that kind of empowers you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna make this speech what I need it to be. You know, I'm gonna get my point across, to teach a lesson, whatever it is that you're trying to do. Okay. And then try to look at the situation in a positive light. And do it change things when you look at it more positively? Like if I'm what's the best possible thing that can happen after I get a speech? Not what's the worst possible thing that can go wrong as I'm giving a speech. What's the best possible thing? I can make connections with people. I'll be proud of myself for teaching a lesson and actually getting up there and doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because that was a fear of mine to public speak, but I'm doing it. Okay. Yeah. So just kind of weigh in like best and worst thing. You challenge your thoughts by asking questions to get evidence for it. And then the more you challenge your thoughts to get evidence, you're coming out of your emotional mind, you go into your more logical mind, and now you can operate from a wise mind and from a personal standpoint. You know what I'm saying? You be more personable. So you go up to that podium. Look, guys, I'm nervous now. I did practice this speech, but I got the jitters. It's like, it lightens the audience and makes them start laughing a little bit. And then you can, start in with your points and just have fun with this. Learn how to have fun with what you do. Okay. All right. So that's what I have for you. And until next time.